Welcome to the Development Book Club. Today we continue with the bare bones of the Buddhist teaching and moving along the Eightfold Path. We will finish the first section. The first part of the first section was right understanding and the 12 Nidanas and everything we spoke about previously. We will continue that with right thought, and then we will move into the virtue section, the middle part of the Eightfold Path, which deals with right speech, right action, and right livelihood. So we begin first with right thought, though. It can also be translated as right intention or right thinking. And the idea here is to avoid lust, ill will, and cruelty, altogether avoiding delusion. We ask ourselves, can we afford these particular thoughts as we sort of chase through them in our heads? We cannot stop. There's a metaphor having to do with animals, and there are so many animal metaphors throughout the rest of this book. We cannot stop the birds from flying over our heads, fair, but we can stop them from nesting in our hair. And another animal metaphor in this particular chapter is that there are two monks talking. Monk one asks the second one, "What work do you do during the 24 hours of the day?" "I tend to the ox," says the other monk. "How do you tend to it?" "Whenever it gets into the grass, I pull it back by the nose." And this by the nose is sometimes translated actually as ruthlessly pull it back by the nostrils. And the idea here is that there's a vast difference between seeing thought and seeing through thought. To watch our thoughts, one way to think of this is to be an observing witness of the thoughts. And once we observe our thoughts, that they are empty and that they're not us, simply, rather, as Patanjali, who wrote the Yoga Sutras, said, mental fluctuations. Once we observe them as see through them to see what their true nature is, we don't even need to let go of them anymore. It's not about here repressing so-called bad thoughts. It's rather seeing through them and letting them dissolve, like let's say clouds do. That is what Dr. Bird has to say about right thought. So now we move to right speech, right action, right livelihood, and this is what is known as sila, S-I-L-A in Pali, dealing with morality or virtue. So we sort of move from right understanding, right thought, which is internal, to external. How are we acting in the world? An example given here with respect to, let's say, right speech, is where we begin, is a meditation group where shortly after sitting for a long time, or even a short time, the meditation hall erupts into chatter, and the right understanding, right thought quickly vanish. There are four aspects of right speech according to the Buddha. Number one is not lying. This is to say we should become a vessel of the truth. Number two is a devotion to speaking in ways that promote concord as opposed to discord, that is. So let's not sow discord through gossip with our speech. Number three is a devotion to speaking with kindness. So we are avoiding harsh language and being kind. Devotion, number four, is the devotion to speaking that which is important. No idle chatter. This is one that's unique, I would say, to Buddhism. In addition, it is said that the Buddha would not speak about the Dharma unless he was asked 3 times. Here we have no lying, speaking in a way that promotes concordance and getting along, speaking with kindness, and speaking about what is actually important. And here the author also wondered what would happen if right speech was actually advocated for and practiced at retreats, which in his experience is not. Okay, and chapter 14 deals with right action and right livelihood. So right action. Are my actions skillful is a question we can use to guide ourselves. Eventually we must integrate our inner life we've been cultivating so far with external behavior. So right action or karma is based on the principle in Pali called ahimsa, A-H-I-M-S-A, which translates to non-violence. However, there are frequently, and this is brought up in the book in a very mature way, there are frequently 2 bad choices in life. And the question is, what do we do at that point? Another sort of guiding principle is the avoidance of stealing. And one way that Buddhists like to refer to stealing is not just how we tend to think of stealing in the West, but as taking that which is not given. Interesting sort of reframe of stealing. And number 3 is abstaining from what is called here unlawful sexual intercourse. And the question here we ask is, does it harm you? Again, with nonviolence. Does it harm you, your partner, or a third party? So does your sexual life or your actions do harm to your inner work? And in this chapter, we think of violence as, in a pretty crude, blunt sense. But the question is here is, as our sensitivity to levels of violence becomes increasingly more subtle, our attitude toward the meaning of what non-killing, stealing, or sexual misconduct, that awareness may also become increasingly subtle. And the point is to let ahimsa, or non-violence, guide us through this land of greatness and murkiness. And finally, for today, right livelihood. What would the Buddha have said about killing animals if he had been born an Eskimo living in the Arctic? Interesting question. Again, another way to think through here when we talk about our work and how we make our livelihoods. Are my actions skillful? Am I walking a path that does not violate my own level of understanding from all the things we've cultivated and talked about already? That is all for this time. Next time we'll conclude the Eightfold Path with the meditative or contemplative steps. Thanks for watching.